It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was that was on my watch. Yeah, I said,
TGIF, thank God it's Friday. Oh, we got a busy weekend, though. Grizzlies tonight. Tiger football tomorrow, senior day. Goodbye to 17 seniors. And then on Sunday, Memphis Tiger basketball with VCU in town. VCU just had a big win yesterday.
I watched. I couldn't believe it. I saw VCU on.
Tell me about that victory, because I didn't have a chance to see. I watched Tulsa rip Loyola Chicago last night. I watched Tulane absolutely destroy SMU. That's the Tigers' next opponent Saturday after Thanksgiving in Dallas. So that'll be an interesting game between two underachievers. I don't understand how SMU put 77 on Houston. I really don't. And then they couldn't do anything with Tulane? Wow.
That's got to make you feel good
crazy.
for that Tigers game the last week of the year, too. That SMU defense is atrocious.
I know it. Well, can I make a prediction for you right now, pertaining to because we're going to do our pick six and we're busy. We got Matt O'Sullivan, former U.S. Olympic soccer player, on the World Cup. You realize the world's biggest sporting event. Well, maybe the Olympics are bigger. Second is the World Cup. It really is, for the rest of the world anyway. It starts on Sunday. The defending champ is France. They're not the favorite this year. We'll find out all about that in the USA team. That's Matt O'Sullivan coming your way in just a few minutes. Glenn Rogers on high school football. Three teams still alive from Shelby County in the area that are still in the hunt for a gold ball. Then on the NBA, our friend Andy Schiffman, our agent from Priority Sports in Chicago, he'll join us at the last segment of the show. Here's my prediction. The University of Memphis has not had a 100-yard rushing performance by a player in how long, J-Mo? I love putting you on the spot.
All season? Hasn't been this season. Since, let's say...
give me a number of games.
16 games.
20 games. My prediction against a team that hasn't really played an upper-level opponent, and I'm putting Memphis in that category. Some might argue with that, but I am. They've given up just about 40 points a game, and they've given up well over 200 yards a game. I am saying the 20-game streak of not having a 100-yard rusher will come to an end tomorrow at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. My bold prediction.
And then again against SMU, because their defense is bad too. So 2 weeks in a row. Well, I know that's not your prediction, but if I could add on to the prediction, maybe so.
From your mouth to God's ears, as they like to say. I hope that is the case. I am sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. Don't forget, we still got a week or so left of the Relax at Home sale with massage chairs and theater seating and pool tables and shuffleboard. It's really a good deal. You're going to have family for the holidays. I know I am. Make it really nice at Family Leisure. And our title sponsors, Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, where they always try to do something right by you. And the newest thing at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road, the first exit in Mississippi, is deferred payments. You can buy a brand new Hyundai. You can get an Elantra, a Veloster, a Santa Fe, my favorite car, or even a Tucson, a little smaller version of the SUV. There's the Palisade. They got them all. You can get any one of those cars and drive off the lot and don't worry about paying for 90 days. How about that? That's what you get at Homer Skelton Hyundai. We're almost on time on our pick six. What are we doing here? I'm after 2 and 4. I'm 23 and 25. I'm under 500. You're 28 and 20. So I'm 3 games behind you here. I've got a chance. By the way, did you have the Packers winning last night?
I did not. I had the Titans.
So did I. Darn. But that doesn't count anyway.
It doesn't count.
But we were on the money.
Well, I was getting notifications from DraftKings saying, "Oh, you need to feign Tannehill here. You need to feign," and I'm like, everyone's buying high on this 4-win Packers team. What's going on? It just kind of seemed a little fishy to me.
Well, you know what? It did seem fishy. It was like it was a sucker bet, and to me, I stood fast. By the way, there was like 3 people who texted me yesterday ridiculing me for taking the Titans. And I texted each one of those people, and I said, I tried to warn you. Just simple, succinct, and to the point. And I'm going to do that today on all these picks. So let's start. We do 4 college until college season's over, and then 2 NFL. It is our pick 6 at 10:06, and I'll start with Ole Miss at Arkansas. The Rebels are 2.5 favorites in this game. You could understand why, that potent offense and everything else. They have lost 2 in a row. Here's the thing. Arkansas was embarrassed by Liberty. There's no doubt. They gave LSU a whale of a game. They are playing for bowl eligibility. There's really more on the line for the Hogs than there is for Ole Miss, and they're at home. So, with that said, you're giving me 2.5 at home, and Arkansas is desperate, and really the Rebels are not. And think about the history here. As Brett Norsworthy told us earlier, the Rebs aren't very good in Fayetteville. I'm taking the points. Give me the Hogs.
I'm with you 100%. I wanted to take Ole Miss here, but I agree. I mean, Ole Miss has kind of put all their eggs. You said they've lost. This would be 3 in a row if they lose this game, but they had a bye week sandwich in between there. They getting high on Alabama. I just don't think they win in Arkansas.
Tennessee and South Carolina, you believe in history, right? Don't you think?
I think
you learn
so.
from that? I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why we study history is to learn from it.
That's right. Doomed to repeat
I think
it.
the history we learned last week is that Josh Heupel does not mind running it up against other schools. He's trying to make a statement. He's poised at 5 in the college football playoff poll. Maybe those style points will help him eventually. I think Ohio State and Michigan, one of those teams, has to lose because they're going to play each other. That's going to really help him. But he wants to cement his position. He's got to give away 21.5 in Columbia, South Carolina. I think that's going to be easy. I think he's going to kill South Carolina. I'm going to take Tennessee.
I agree. I have no respect for South Carolina. I don't know why you would. I know they beat A&M at home, but I don't really have any respect for A&M either. So I think Tennessee runs it up.
Oklahoma State is at Oklahoma.
Bedlam.
Yeah, it is Bedlam. So Oregon's the border war, right? That's
right.
Oregon State.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is Bedlam. It's always a good game. It's always pretty close. Oklahoma's got to give away 7 at home. Oklahoma State has really laid some stinkers out this year. And even though Oklahoma's just a 500 team, at home, to prove the point, I like the Sooners in this game. I'll give away the points. This was a tough one for me, but that's how I go.
I don't blame you. This line is so weird. It seems like 7's too many that Oklahoma just seems like I need to bet Oklahoma. But I'm going to take Oklahoma State, actually. They got
All right, we're different.
They
finally.
got that quarterback back. I don't know. Just give me the points. Whenever I take the points in college, it never works out. But give me the points in this
All
one.
right, you got it. And then there's USC and UCLA, another great rivalry game. USC still sort of poised, waiting in the wings. There's an outside chance they could still get into the playoff mix, but they got to beat UCLA. They're both ranked teams. USC is actually the favorite. It's in Pasadena. I thought Eli Savoy had the best line when he goes, I don't know, they're going to be jet lagged from going from by the Coliseum to Pasadena. I don't think that'll be a problem. I think it's only 2, so the winner of the game is going to win the game, right? Winner, there's going to be a cover from the winner. I'm going to take USC. I think they're the better team.
I'm going to take the fighting Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly and them boys in UCLA. I don't know why, but the +2 just makes me feel like they're going to win the game.
You just like points.
I do.
And then in the National Football League, Dallas is giving away 2 at Minnesota. I haven't really believed in the Vikings this year. Games at Minnesota. Dallas made
8-1.
enough mistakes in that last game, and I don't know what McCarthy was doing. I told you should have taken the points. I I never believe in Minnesota. I don't believe in Cousins, but they're 8-1 for a reason. I'm going to go with Minnesota in this game.
I totally agree with everything you said. Minnesota seems like the easy play here. They're awesome at home. I love the way Kirk Cousins is playing at home before primetime games. I have no idea why the Cowboys are favored, and because of that, I'm going to take the Cowboys. It just seems like no logical reason the Cowboys should be favored, and for that reason, someone's got to know something. I'm taking the boys.
That's three different right now, so I'm either back in this thing or I'm in big trouble. And then finally, Kansas City at L.A. The Chiefs going on the road, but they are 5-point favorites. I'm a believer in Kansas City. 7-2 on the year, third best record in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, I believe, is the best quarterback in this league. I got to go with the Chiefs. I think they're going to outscore the Chargers.
I just think a road game, like we're going to differ on both of these.
You're going with points.
I'm going to take the Chargers again. I'm going to take the points in the NFL. 5 points is a lot. I think it's going to be a close game.
There's a lot of difference between you and me in this one. That one should be a lot of fun. So that's the picks. Pick 6 at 10:06, and it's brought to you in part by the good folks at Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and they remind you the way the government prices are increasing now, there's new regulations regarding HVAC, and they want to get you in before the prices go up to get your system efficient, and they're going to throw in a furnace. That's amazing. So here's what happens. You dial 384-3511. You say, it doesn't matter which HVAC system you want to get. There's different brands. Check out which one you want the most. They'll throw in a furnace, and they will throw in a Nest thermostat. That's where you can regulate your house from your phone anywhere you are in literally the world. Coolest thing, this Nest thermostat. All this new technology saves you money on your MLGW bill, too, and beats the rate increase that's coming. 384-3511. Get the free furnace. Call my friends at Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. To Atlanta we go. Our friend Matt O'Sullivan, the soccer rocker they used to call him when he was on Rock 103 years and years ago, former member of the U.S. Olympic soccer team now. And he's tried to leverage me for a bigger contract. It's amazing. With other people in the market who've been after him. But we got him. We've tied him up. I think it's a lifetime contract now. He's our analyst for these games, these World Cup games, which begin on Sunday. How are you, sir?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, Willow. The World Cup is coming on Sunday.
All right, so France is the defending champion. Are they the favorites?
Not this time around. You know, we've got 4 European winners in a row, so that's 16 years running where the Cup has gone to Europe. The odds this year are someplace in South America, either Brazil or Argentina, and Messi goes out a winner.
So how do you think that will end up? Are you a Messi guy or are you going Brazil?
I'm a Messi guy. Going with Argentina.
Wow.
I love him.
Well, wait a
Best
second.
Player,
Wait.
The best player ever.
Best player ever? Better than Pelé?
Better than plain as day. But, you know, like...
Better than, what was the guy? Maradona.
So I think what you do, the problem with this argument is you just go, you know what? He's in the top 5 forever, as is Maradona, as is Pelé, as is Ronaldo.
Let me just say this. In almost every sport, I don't think it's fair to compare a superstar from one era with a superstar from 50 years ago.
I would agree. And you know what? This would be the infamous frosting on Messi's cake, however, or Ronaldo's cake, who's in a lot of controversy right now. Man United. He will not be playing another game for Man United. Just telling you.
What has happened there? He's criticized them, and he left early one game. I mean, what's going on with him?
He's just throwing tantrums, and he doesn't want to be there. And you know, those guys get guaranteed contracts, and he's making a hellacious amount of money.
He's making like
And
42.
there's nobody to trade him to. Who wants him?
40. What is he making? 42 million this year?
Something like that. It's some ridiculous number.
And he's unhappy. That's the thing. He's unhappy to go out and play for that kind of money. It's spoiled. All right. So let's
World Cup.
Let's get down to the United States team, because I can remember you saying last World Cup, which was so disappointing, that they were building for this year, that this U.S. team for this World Cup was really going to be outstanding. They've got a great player in Christian Pulisic. There's midfielder Yunus Musa.
Musa, yeah. He's phenomenal. He's 19. The uniqueness about this squad, Willow, is there's only 5 people whose age would tell you most likely they won't repeat, okay? Whether they're 30 or Tim Ream's the oldest at 35, and he just played his way in. You got a goalkeeper, Sean Johnson, at 33. There's 5 roughly 30-year-olds. Everybody else is going to repeat. So in 26, you've got 21 to 26.
Oh, no, come on. You told me that in 18. You were saying, we're going to 22. Come on, give me something here now.
They're going to do well this year. They're going to get out of their group. Okay.
Really?
Once
They're going to get. Group, nobody is predicting that but you.
Hey, they're going to get out of their group. They need to beat Wales. They need to tie England or don't lose badly, and then they need to beat Iran. They need to win those 2 games on either end. But I'll tell you for sure, they must get a point on Sunday as a minimum. Don't lose to Wales.
Can't lose to Wales. I've seen somebody predicted all these games, and I want to say they predicted that Wales would beat the USA 1-0. I can't believe with this squad. Is Pulisic, since we're doing superlatives like you just did with Ronaldo and Messi and all those guys, does Pulisic have a chance to become the best player ever that put on a USA uniform?
He's got a chance, but he's 24, so he's got 4 years in front of him where he needs to just do incredible things and play full time as a first pick. You got to be on the first squad right now. This season, the only good thing about this season at Chelsea's been they didn't play him so much that he's burned out for the World Cup. If anything, he should be saying, "I want to do incredible, and then I'm going to transfer someplace where I can play full time." That's what he needs to do. He needs to play full time, but he needs to probably get out of Chelsea. And Chelsea's done us a favor because he's not injured. This is the first time that the coach, Burkhalter's, had all of his players healthy. Everybody's healthy for the first time in over 2 years. Gio Reyna's healthy. Pulisic's healthy. Musa's healthy. He's got his boys together, and he's got lots to pick up, and he can customize his lineup for each game. Wales lineup's going to be different than England lineup's going to be different than Iran lineup. And he's got the players to put it there.
Could a guy like Pulisic stay in America, play MLS, and still get great? I mean, do you have to go to Premier League or First Division somewhere in South America in order to become a great player?
You know what? Yes. Just like the players. So you say something like that, you go, okay, Matt, yeah, but like, okay, here's some numbers for you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's 26 players per team. There's 32 teams. Do that math. I don't know, 800 players total at the World Cup. 136 of those players came from the Premier League. 136. The next league is La Liga, 83.
So we're talking 200 from those 2 leagues alone.
Yeah, so the Bundesliga,
that's 25.
76.
All right, so that, but you're talking about 25%. My point is MLS ever going to get to the point where it's considered to be elite like those other leagues?
Here you go. I'm going to give you that. So I just gave you the top 2. Number 3 is Bundesliga.
Yeah.
Serie A, Italy, 68. League 1, France, 54. The next to 16 this year, Major League Soccer at 35. Okay, so right now they're 6th. They're getting there. Okay, they're building their brand. You have to think about it. The MLS has been here since 94, I think they started. Okay? These other leagues have been there forever. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, if you're a great, great player, you want to play in England or Spain or Germany, maybe, and Italy, and probably France. But we're getting there. And the reality is they're also starting to pay the kind of money that can draw those players. The economics have gotten there. Not for a full team. What the budgets are for some of those teams is phenomenal. But that's part of it. It's all wrapped together. So they got to have the economics as well. So, but you think about it, right now, the MLS, it's growing again with teams, and it just got its Apple package, and it's going to do that, and it's building. But right now, if you're a young American, what a lot of them are doing is they're coming up and they're playing for a couple of years in MLS, and then they're going overseas. Now, they're not always successful, but that's true of all the players that come from all over the world and end up in those leagues. The academies for Chelsea and United, Man U and Man City, all those teams, they've got 50 kids in their academy that their scouts worldwide have found. They're looking for the kid. So they find 50. 49 of them don't make it.
Right.
But, that's just the reality. But it's the same in every sport. It's the same in the NBA. I mean, they're trying to identify talent early because it's cheaper to get them and grow them and find a kid like that. So the answer is yes, the league's getting better and better. Pulisic needs to be overseas. Those guys, the guys that are right there in that less than 1%, they need to be over there. They're playing against the best day in and day out. They're training with the best day in, day out.
He is Matt O'Sullivan, our man on the cup. We will talk to you on Tuesday. The American team plays on Sunday. Huge game against Wales. If they get a point, Matt O'Sullivan is saying it's a lock. They will get to the knockout round. Thank you, Matto. We appreciate it.
You guys take care. Talk to you on Monday.
Or Tuesday, whichever comes first. That is our man, Matt O'Sullivan. He is brought to you by the good folks at AmeriCare. This is the place that is about wellness for our elderly. If you've got a loved one in your family that you think now may need assisted living, maybe they need memory care, I've got the place for you. In fact, I got 3 places for you. In Memphis, South Breeze on Hacks Cross. In Collierville, it's Schilling Gardens. In Olive Branch, Olive Grove Terrace, which, by the way, right now, if you go to Olive Grove Terrace, there are some move-in specials going on. Please ask the people there. I love talking about AmeriCare places because they talk about aging in a really positive way. They know it's not just about eating right and exercising, having vegetables. They do all that. It's about wellness. It's about where you live that really matters. And at AmeriCare, there's smaller, more intimate communities. It's easier to make friends and joining in fun activities and, of course, sharing good times at meal times. Basically, where you go for the assisted living or the memory care becomes your home. That is what they strive for. And you will find, if you go there, that they'll maintain your health at AmeriCare and set you on a course for aging well. And the key here, living happier, wellness. That's what it's all about at AmeriCare. Let me take a quick break. When we come back, our friend Glenn Rogers on high school football. Only 3 left from Memphis in the quest for a gold ball. We'll talk about that in a second.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. 5 Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 5 Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Fall is in the air, and that means fall grilling, tailgate parties, and so much more. Now is the perfect time to stock up on all this incredible flavor and take advantage of 50% off site-wide by shopping Omaha Steaks Friends and Family Sale. Go to omahasteaks.com and use promo code SIZZLE at checkout to get $30 off your order. Visit omahasteaks.com, promo code SIZZLE at checkout. Minimum order may be required.
When you see a City of Memphis service vehicle such as solid waste or code enforcement, slow down, yield, or move over. You can help save a life. Move over, Memphis. Let's help keep them safe.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Our high school coach, and by the way, former Tiger, brought to you by a Tiger lover, guy who went to the U of M, and who is so high on Memphis that he even puts the Tigers in his phone number. I'm talking about Eflin Insurance. You know that, 386-GRR. That is the number to call to get a quote today. 386-GRR is 4777. Matt Eflin and his crew do a different thing. They call it collaboration. That's what they do. Collaboration. They get to know you, figure out what your needs are for health insurance or for life insurance or for some sort of auto program. They do all of that, get to know you, what your budgets are, and then they protect you. They do the same thing for small to mid-sized businesses with commercial insurance. All you got to do is call. You can either call Andrew or Grant or Heath or get a hold of Matt himself. That is the Eflin Insurance team. So, Glenn Rogers, only 3 schools within our area are still in the hunt for the gold ball. Is that a disappointing year for Shelby County?
Well, good morning, Dave, you and all our listeners. And I think absolutely, Dave, it's, any coach would tell you that if they're not playing right now, it's a disappointing year. And I think any coach would feel that way. Hats off to the guys that are still playing, that still have a chance to try to go win a gold ball. But, yeah, I guarantee you, when you talk to most coaches around this area that are not playing, it's disappointing to them.
I'm going to tell you, I have an understanding why I think the public schools in Shelby County, anyway, are struggling. Why Whitehaven is not around now, why maybe Central or White Station have hit some hard times. They all lost talent and a whole year because of COVID. But the private sector did not. Why has it been so hard for you guys at MUS or Christian Brothers or even Lausanne, which lost last week? And I think they've had a pretty good year other than that. But what is it about? Is it Middle Tennessee or East Tennessee? Why has this been such a lean year?
Well, I think Dave, you go back to COVID, and you think about it this way: when you take away the locker room aspect of it, where kids are bonding in the locker room daily, when you take that out of the equation, and you go through a pandemic year, like when we went on the road last week, Dave, that was the first time a lot of our kids have ever been on a bus ride out of town. Now think about that: 2 years post-COVID. And that was the first time our kids took a bus ride up to Nashville because we had parents taking them in separate cars during COVID. And so, it's a lot of factors that go into it, with the camaraderie side of it. And I think, even with the public school system, them not having a year or a season, that takes the steam out of a lot of programs. Then kids leave and go to other places, and so it really knocks the steam out. And you got to recover from that, especially when you lose some of your best players. It's hard to replace a bad Brunetti or somebody like that. When he ups and leaves and uproots from the program, it's hard to replace those type of kids.
No doubt. All right, so not a great year, let's be honest. But there are still 3 teams in it. Let's talk about them for a second. Let's start with Germantown and Bartlett. They're both 10-2. Bartlett's one of their 2 losses was to Germantown, however. So here is a repeat game with a lot on the line. How does this one play out?
Well, I tell you, Dave, you and I have been saying this all along. Gene Robinson and his staff, one of the best young coaches in the area, and Bartlett's got a young coach. This is going to be an exciting game. A lot of stars on the field. Gene's got a lot of young talent. One of his best players is this sophomore slot receiver who plays running back and also returns kicks. And then Bartlett with the quarterback. Bartlett's big up front on the defensive line. Both of them got opposing guys up front. I think this game goes down to the wire, and I think Germantown goes in there and pulls off an upset at Bartlett to keep advancing on their march to a gold ball.
All right, our second game here is Dyersburg at Covington. Dyersburg is surprised to be in this position. They're 8-4. Covington is 10-2. They played earlier this year, and Covington beat the heck out of them 34-0. They just, I think they had like 230 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. I don't see this being much different. What do you think?
Yeah, and anytime you beat a team like that, you're going to make some adjustments. But listen, Dave, when you pummel a team like that, of course, Dyersburg is in this situation now because obviously they got some things figured out and got rolling. But listen, going to Covington is a tough place to play. One of my former teammates, James Mackler, from Covington, has always been a tough place to play. I think Covington gets to win tonight. Probably not as convincingly, but they'll win by 2 touchdowns or better, and they'll keep their chance alive for a gold ball as well. I think Covington will have Dyersburg figured out again the second go-round.
All right, and our final team still in it is Mays, which this team's been unreal. And I was reading some of the statewide guys on Mays who all said they're not for real. They play this trumped-up, easy schedule. They got Peabody at their place. I'll say this. Mays hasn't given up more than 12 points in a single game this year. They've been dominant 12-0, but Peabody is Peabody. They're traveling. They're 10-2. They're always really good in this class. How does this thing play out? Can Mays go all the way?
Absolutely. Anytime you got players, Dave, Cedric Miller is a great coach. He's got great coaches on his staff. He's always done an excellent job wherever he's been, whether it's Wooddale or Southwind. And right now it's probably one of his most athletic teams. They're big up front. They're athletic up front. They got a quarterback that can run and throw. Defensively, they can play man-to-man and load the box up if you got a good running game. If you want to spread it out, they got athletes on the outside that can match up with you. To me, this is a year that Mays is primed to bring a gold ball home. And like you said, Peabody would be his biggest test, but I think Cedric Miller overcomes them tonight and keep marching down that road to bring a gold ball. I really believe they got, to me, probably the best chance, them in Germantown, to bring the gold ball home.
Well, that was my next question. So you believe in the end here, Mays and Germantown, who you're picking over Bartlett at Bartlett tonight, you think those are the 2 teams with the best chances to bring home state titles for Shelby County?
Absolutely. If Gene Robinson doesn't get anybody hurt, a major guy hurt, and he right now I think he's pretty healthy. And Cedric Miller's in the same boat. He's pretty healthy. I think these 2 teams have enough. They have enough guys on the yard that can bring a gold ball home. You got to have talent at the quarterback and at skill position and up front, and both of these teams possess it. And they both got tough defenses.
I hope you're right. I hope we get a couple of gold balls. That would be outstanding.
That would be excellent for this area. Excellent.
We just had this discussion because of COVID related that it's been a bad year for Shelby County. What about the amount of players? And I bring this up because we know As always, MUS is going to be a kind host to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl High School Classic. That'll be on December the 10th. They'll pick the teams. I think they've already picked the coaches, right?
Yeah, they all picked the coaches, yeah. They're in the process now of getting the feedback from the players who've been nominated.
So what kind of year has it been for those athletes? Do we have the usual amount of talent from Shelby County that will end up playing college football?
I think, this is one of those years, Dave, where the talent pool probably ain't as vast, probably a little down this year. I'm talking about just in general across the board. But when you look at some individual type players, there's still talent here. You think about it. Los Angeles quarterback is committed to Ohio State. The guy from Bartlett is committed to an FCS school. So you got kids here in this area that has the talent. It's just in certain spots, but just overall wise, I think it's a down year. But in bits and pieces in certain areas, there's still talent in this area. There's no doubt about that. There's always going to be talent in Memphis, Dave. No matter what you say, what kind of year it is, there's going to be talent around.
I think you're right about that. Always going to be talent for sure, and I love that the AutoZone Liberty Bowl does take care and puts this game together. You guys are kind enough to set it up, and we'll talk a little bit about that next week because I think by then we should have some of the key members of the teams all set up. Glenn, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next Friday. Go all the Shelby County teams go and win. That's all we can say.
Absolutely, Dave. And I want to say good luck to the Tiger seniors tomorrow that's being honored in their last home game.
Yeah.
Like you said, Dave, we look forward to these Memphis teams advancing tomorrow and hopefully they keep on up the road and bringing the gold ball home.
You got it. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you, buddy.
Bye-bye. That's our coach, Glenn Rogers Jr. He's brought to you in part by another guy who's really good at what he does, and that's my friend Sheldon Rosengarten, Mark Spensdorf. During the holidays, you probably are thinking of friends, family, and upcoming events. However, there are some people who are actually in a house hunting mood, and that's where Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark Spensdorf comes in. He reminds us he's sold houses over the Thanksgiving holiday and on Christmas Eve, even New Year's Day. It may be someone transferring into the area, someone who still wants to take advantage of the low rates, or maybe it's their home that's sold and they need to buy another one quickly. So if you're thinking of selling or just want to discuss the possibility, it's all about the future, right? Talk to 2 or 3 real estate brokers. Just make sure that my guy, Sheldon, is one of them. That highly successful strategic marketing program makes the difference. And his very bad golf game is because he's always working for you. All you got to do is call 483-0546, 483-0546, or go to memphisrelocate.com. 483-0546, memphisrelocate.com. That's Sheldon at Mark's Bensdorf. J-Mo, any arguments at all? Aaron Judge, the American League MVP. I mean, he almost had a triple crown.
Two people voted for someone else. Had to be Ohtani because those people love though he pitches and he hits.
That's it. That's it.
Revolutionary.
But you know what? He won that last year, and he was actually a little bit better last year. And a guy that almost wins triple crown, you got to go with him. And then Paul Goldschmidt. I believe Paul Goldschmidt became the oldest MVP in the National League. What is he, 34, 35?
Yeah, he's the list of oldest MVP winners. After there have been 11 MVP awards won by players over 35, and he's one of them. Maybe the oldest in the National League, though.
I thought that was what I saw. But he was deserving.
Barry Bonds won it at age 40 in 2004.
Oh, that's the oldest then. So he
yeah.
can't be the oldest because he was with the Giants.
Willie Stargell won at age 39.
Wow.
And Barry Bonds also won at age 39. Wow. So Barry Bonds took home. And then Barry Bonds also won at age 38.
Yeah, so my stat on that is he's over 30. That's about all that it applies there. But congratulations to him. Okay, the weekend's here. You're almost out. I know you are. Of spirits. So you got to go to the Spirit Shop. Aptly named right there in East Memphis. Heart of East Memphis at Poplar and St. Nick. 4848 Poplar, the little log cabin right down from Clark Tower. You've seen it a million times. If you haven't been in, and many of you have, and Eddie is he's so grateful for that, but Eddie Connor and his family have been running this thing since 1969. And to me, you go in there and there's always going to be good discussion about spirits. They got everything you need. They got all the local IPAs. They even got rubs for rimming your glass. I mean, got every accessory you could ever want when it comes to any kind of spirit. They got the really valuable spirits. They got the bargain spirits. They got the up-and-comers. But you got to find out which one is which. Eddie and his family are very happy to talk with you, to educate you about the spirits. I love going in there. You should too. So here's the weekend, and it's the holidays. Go see my guy. Go see Eddie Connor at the Spirit Shop. We take a quick break. When we come back to Chicago, we go. Our friend and our agent, Andy Schiffman with Priority Sports in Chicago on the NBA. That comes your way in just a second.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, everybody. Greg Gaston for FanDuel. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlays, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events that let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, and be sure to sign up with promo code GASMAN so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code GASMAN. Must be 21 or over and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Mix a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews, and you've got the Rich Eisen Show podcast.
Brownie the Elf. It's this monstrously large logo that few people across the country knew even was existing on the planet. Joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show for a few minutes, Nathan Segura.
I just want you to know,
yes.
J.W. Johnson, our owner and executive vice president, told me he will be happy to send you a Brownie hoodie.
I'm sure I can give it to a Brown fan because, what's the phrase? I wouldn't be caught dead in it. But,
The Rich Eisen Show podcast, wherever you listen.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
Get holiday ready at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on Covington Pike during our Black Friday sales event. You ready for a new ride but can't seem to find just what you're looking for? No worries. Stop by, pick your ride, and Gossett will get it ordered just for you. No hassles, no extra charges, no market adjustments. Pay no more than MSRP at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Plus, keep your money in your pocket during the holidays and get no payments for 90 days on select models. And 2022 Renegade Sport 4x4, we Gossett $399 a month or buy it for $29,990. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike. Or shop online 24/7, 365 at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motorcars.
Renegade NPN 79312, MSRP 31980. Must finance through Chrysler Capital. Includes all rebates and incentives. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/22 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
I just checked for the latest news. I checked Twitter. We're still there. Twitter is still there. You know, they lost half their people. A lot of people think it's going to end. And I did like this Elon Musk quote. He said, you know how you make a small fortune on social media? You start with a large one. Andy Schiffman, whose business it is to make small fortunes or big fortunes for all of his players, he joins us now. Let's start with the raging controversy in this market where Charles Barkley had the audacity to say that the next step in the evolution of becoming a greater player for John Morant is that he's got to make other players better. And I know Ja took umbrage to that. Your guy, Brandon Clark, thought while he likes Charles Barkley, he thought he was way off on that. Triple J said just about the same thing. It is interesting if you're looking for an argument. I don't necessarily agree with Charles on this because I do think he sets up a lot of people. I think that whole atmosphere that's like a college thing where they do this thing with Fisher after the game on their walk-off interviews, it's all because of the tone that Ja has set. But it is fact that last year without him, they were 20-5. And I'll tell you right now, without Bane in there, they've really kind of struggled. The numbers, it's like a 13-point difference offensively. It's like 8 differences in threes. Bane's absence seems to actually have more impact than Ja's had if you just look at sheer numbers. Your take on all that stuff. Good morning.
Well, good morning as well, Dave. First off, Barkley obviously has been verbally controversial over the years and loves to offer and spout off unrequested opinion whenever possible. And look, I don't necessarily 100% disagree. I think Ja is going to be an MVP candidate this season. But again, I don't necessarily think he's way off base in terms of talking about the next step for him to become a quote unquote great player, which I already think he is to make other players around him better. And secondly, I think he's already done that 100%. And you and I have talked about this quite a bit on the show, right? So I represent Brandon Clark. Brandon benefits from playing with a guy like Ja.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I think one reason the Grizzlies extended Brandon recently is because they understand his value playing with Ja and even playing alongside Tyus Jones coming off the bench and playing in that system. And it remains to be seen, and it's not going to be seen unless there's a trade, of how Brandon would function and how efficiently he will be outside of the Memphis system. How would he play? Would he fare just as well playing with another type of point guard, one that is just maybe not as quick twitch, the vision that Ja has, the unselfishness as a leader. I mean, there's so many intangibles that you really can't quantify when you talk about trying to make players around you better and things that you as the leader and the point guard of the team bring to the table. So I think he's already done that. And look, you're absolutely right. They've definitely struggled without Desmond. I think you just think about it, right? Like when you're playing the Grizzlies, you're not going to be able to keep Ja Morant out of the paint. So I really don't think these NBA teams are going in saying we need to keep Ja out of the paint, force him to shoot threes. You just try and contain him as best as you can, understanding that he's going to be able to operate in the paint and he's going to have shooters around him. When you lose a guy like Desmond that is one of the best three-point shooters in the league that can stretch the floor, that always is a threat. Now, whoever might have been guarding Desmond Bane can maybe take another 1 or 2 steps in towards the paint to clog up the paint, to make it that much more difficult for Ja. Again, you're not going to stop it from penetrating, but at least make it a little more difficult because you're not as worried about another player on the perimeter just being an assassin from three and shooting the ball at a high clip. So it definitely can negatively impact the Grizzlies. So hopefully he'll be back sooner than later.
No kidding. I just hope it's like a little sprained toe and it's not like a turf toe, because turf toes take forever to get healthy, and sometimes they don't. So let's hope that it's just this sprain that is really going to cost them 2 to 3 weeks. So the Grizzlies take on Oak City tonight, and then they go to New Jersey. They will play, or Brooklyn. They will play in Brooklyn. The, I guess, poster child now for dysfunctional teams in the NBA. It's a good battle between them and the Lakers. And it's going to possibly be Kyrie's coming back party. So you could have Irving, who's been was suspended for hate language, anti-Semitic statements, and links to anti-Semitic propaganda, who I guess apologized sort of in a statement. I don't know how quickly that'll go away. So you got that part of the story. You got KD complaining about the starting lineups. You've got people saying that Ben Simmons really seems to be the kind of guy that doesn't give it his all. It's a crazy situation there. Give me what you think eventually happens with the New Jersey Nets.
Look, it's really interesting. I would not be shocked if they give up on Ben at some point and try and move him. I just think his trade value continues to decrease wherever he goes.
Plummets.
I mean, granted, it's only been, Philadelphia and Brooklyn, but you're not winning with him. And he just seems to be the distraction and everything else that the intangible aspect, the negative intangibles, kind of tend to outweigh what he does on the court. And clearly there is zero chemistry. And I take offense to what Durant said about that starting lineup. I mean, we represent Joe Harris, who had a great game last night. And Joe puts his hard hat on every day, goes to work with a smile on his face, and just is there to win. And Durant, especially with Kyrie out and everything going on with Kyrie, Kevin Durant is looked at as the leader of that team. And it's one thing to sit there and express frustration about losing, but to go out there and call out your teammates that are going to battle with you every single night that have done nothing wrong and have given it their all, that's pretty disrespectful. And I know that doesn't bode well for the rest of the season. So they're absolutely going to have to make some changes if they want to have a chance to even make the playoffs. I think it starts moving Ben. I'm not going to sit there and say it's a foregone conclusion that Kevin does not ask to be traded by the trade deadline. I think you'll see how things go over the next couple of months. The trade deadline's obviously up in around mid-February or so. So that's an interesting story to keep an eye on if KD asks out of Brooklyn more adamantly this time around. I just don't think that you can have Durant, Ben Simmons to a lesser extent, and Kyrie functioning all together at a high level. There's just so much negativity in that locker room every single day. Obviously, now they've got Jacques Vaughn as the head coach. It's like you said, it is a bit of a circus. Hopefully, the Grizzlies can still pull out a victory when they play their Sunday with Kyrie back, because the Grizzlies have chemistry. They are a cohesive team. But even beyond that, getting back to the Grizzlies, Dave, they got to be careful for tonight, because what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is doing is ridiculous.
Crazy.
I mean, he's over 32, 33 points a game, close to 40% from three. Probably leader in the clubhouse for most improved player. And he has really impressed me, his evolution. And OKC, look, they're always a team that's easy to write off. I don't know if you necessarily, they're 7-8. They could be there at the end with a chance to make a play-in game. I'm not going to sit there and say they're going to be one of the top 8 seeds in the West, but I don't think it's out of the question that they're going to be right there, maybe in that 10th, 11th, 12th spot at the end of the season, fighting for a spot. So they've been fun to watch. They are young. They're not really necessary. I don't think they're set up or they went into this season thinking, hey, we're going to win this year. But things change, I don't think Golden State looked up and said, hey, we're going to start off the season 6-9 and struggle. But look what's happened.
And not win a road game. They're 0-8 on the road.
And they've got their guys healthy, too, which is crazy. Healthy players, healthy. It's crazy.
Their bench is not playing very well. Poole's coming off of it. He has not done a good job, even though he signed that massive deal. They sent Wiseman to the G League. I don't know. They didn't even put a cap on that. They basically said he's there into perpetuity.
I think they'll move him. I think he'll be I think he'll be in a lot of trade conversations over the next couple of months.
I gotta agree with you. All right, last thing, because we're running out of time, we got to touch on this. The Boston Celtics have won 8 games in a row. Tatum and Brown, what a combination.
They are dangerous, and I think going into the season, quite honestly, they were a lot of people's favorites, and they're showing why. They looked good in the finals last year, and now they're just that much stronger. And Milwaukee came out of the gate hot, but while everyone was talking about Milwaukee and how they started out undefeated, there really weren't a lot of people talking about Boston. And look at some of these games that they've won during this stretch. I mean, they lost a 1-point game to Cleveland earlier in the month on the road, but then they beat Chicago, who's struggling right now, but overall they're a good team. They went on the road at New York, at Memphis, obviously that 3-point game. Then they come back home and they beat Denver at home. And again, they're not playing Milwaukee or Phoenix every single night. And again, we've talked about some of these other teams that have been having success early in the year, like a Portland or Utah, that maybe won't be so sustainable the rest of the year. But their next game tonight is at New Orleans, so that'll be tough. And they come here to Chicago on Monday. So those two will be difficult on the road, good teams. So they could be tested this weekend, but it's definitely not out of the question to just keep winning. And they're very well coached, I think. I really like their new head coach who took over for Ime Udoka, obviously. They're deep. They've got a lot of shooters. Obviously, Tatum is an all-star. Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. So, even with Robert Williams out, they are clicking on all cylinders.
They are. It is going to be fun to watch them the whole rest of the way. Andy Schiffman, happy Thanksgiving to you. I know we'll talk to you in the day after Thanksgiving. We appreciate it and have a wonderful weekend.
You too, Dave. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks.
That is our man on the NBA, our agent from Chicago. That is Andy Schiffman. He's brought to you by something I might have to have a sip of tonight. Not too much because I got games Saturday and Sunday. But I want to be refreshed when the weekend comes, and I find that from Grind City. I find Poppy's Pills, what the doctor ordered. The Pilsner, light, refreshing, ultra crushable, as my kids like to say. Made right here in Memphis. You can go to the Spirit Shop. You can go see any place in Memphis, and you will find Poppy's Pills in either 6-packs or 15-packs. They're all over. Best enjoyed ice cold, even when it's ice cold now. You better wear something warm to the game tomorrow. But if you want a Poppy's Pills, that's no problem. When it's freezing out, it's easy to keep it ice cold. Poppy's Pills. Got to try it. That's made right here in Memphis from the good folks at Grind City Brewing. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you again on Monday. Johnny Radio is next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave